play a little bit, but not too much. I'm also dealing with a little bit of vertigo, I'm sorry, so a little bit wobbly. So my hand-eye coordination is not great, so let's put that as a caveat. I feel a little nauseated, but other than that, aside from those things, we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to talk about music and writing and drafting and improvisation, and I'm going to make sure my computer's not behind a password before I do so, because I'm going to share a couple clips with you. I'm going to play a little bit. I was telling Creed too, also noticed entitled my paper, "What Did Bach Really Play? Improvisation, the Writer as Co-Composer." So, one of my most formative moments with writing started in my undergrad dorm freshman year, almost hurling my computer out the window 2 stories up. I definitely almost did it. I unplugged it, picked it up, set it on the springless windowsill, and looked down. Lillian knows the story, I think. You know that feeling when you lose an entire paper? Has anyone done this before? An entire paper? It's like that ill-fated breakup, but worse. You probably haven't seen this one coming as long. This one was a 12-page philosophy paper. I spent days planning it, then 2 days drafting it. Something about the Hegelian dialectic. It was a 1,000 level philosophy class. It was my first semester at college. Went to bed at like 2 a.m. Next morning, I opened the file, and there it was, or wasn't, wingdings instead of words everywhere. Irrecoverable. In my mind, losing that paper was like losing an artifact, a piece of mediated thought, but recorded. And as an aside, I'd already gotten sort of an idea of how naturalized guitar playing was becoming. And then one day I nodded off and I was just kind of running scales with my metronome. So when you practice with a metronome, you just kind of like run scales like over and over. I put my metronome in and I'd kind of nod off, and my hands would kind of just keep going a little bit. So that was kind of an epiphany for me. I saw in this moment a parallel between what we call music improvisation or real-time experimentation, as opposed to formal composition where music is written out on a staff with the intention of being able to be repeated note for note, and what we call drafting and writing. Like in music and writing, the writer is just a mediator between the immaterial original novel or music, like original or novel ideas in writing, is the musician or writer, the composer. But interestingly, the mediator is also the locus, the source. So they bring, just like ideas as communicated in writing or in poems or novels, or even in like a mundane instruction set, they bring ideas, they bring sound into fruition. Or what they now refer to as musical, historical accuracy of what we understand these musicians' pieces, as these musicians actually played their own pieces. In Bach's case, none of his own manuscripts survive. We only have others' transcriptions of Bach's lost ones, or real-time transcriptions from Bach's performances. So how did Bach really play some of his own transcriptions? What techniques made his performance his? What were the dynamics with which he chose to inflect his music? That is to say, what was his actual style? So answers can only ever be approximations, because Bach, like many other Baroque and classical musicians, improvised their pieces, often around a general structure like a chord progression. This one. That first part of the suite was meant for the performer and back in the Baroque period, soloists were privileged above ensemblists. They would allude to some of the key melodies that were part of the dance motifs and the rest of the part of the prelude. It would be up to the instrumentalist to play the prelude to be able to allude and improvise on the key melodies from the rest of the sections of the prelude. So to give the example of Mozart from Concerto 24, here's the cadenza passage played by a live performer. From those of a research report or white paper, we know how to stylize, even down to syntax and mechanics. So in terms of writing, what can we learn from the practice of improvisation specifically? This is the notion I'm getting at. It's establishing a specific mentality or disposition toward writing, composing or drafting, conceiving of the process of writing in a way that challenges us to privilege improvisation, taking risks in our approach, taking more time to create, always revising ourselves, and the inherited traditions of form, genre, and wording. We should write in a way that we become co-composers to the inherited standards of writing, but also co-composers in the sense of gaining direction, inspiration by performing various renditions for others and being receptive to their input.